to bye weeks, it's pretty much the AFC East and then a couple other teams. I think there's 6 teams on bye, but it's the AFC East, Cleveland Browns, and the 49ers, I believe. So Tommy's going to be without Sony Michel. Timmy won't have Kenyon Drake, Kelvin Benjamin, Frank Gore. Brian's going to be missing Isaiah Crowell, Jarvis Landry, LaShawn McCoy, Duke Johnson, and Zay Jones. I'm without Josh Gordon and George Kittle. Scotty won't have Breida and David Njoku. Shauno's going to be missing pretty much half of his starting lineup of Patriots, with also Robbie Anderson and Danny Amendola. You're not going to have Marquise Goodwin, and I put Cordero Patterson there, but he won't be on the team. He gone. The Beaties won't have Gronk, and Nick is without his 2 stud rookies in Baker Mayfield, Nick Chubb, and then also the Bills defense. All right, so when it comes to our Week 11 matchups, I put down the 2 top matchups are Kevin versus Tommy and Timmy versus Brian. We'll start off with Kevin versus Tommy, as this one has big fantasy playoff implications.
Absolutely love to see this matchup.
Yeah, you just love this because it's going to dramatically increase the playoff odds of one, but also going to dramatically decrease someone that, has the same record as you, as this is a battle of 6-4 teams. And as of right now, the projected favorite is Kevin, or should I say Maddie, going against Tommy. I don't know if I really agree with the projected total. I mean, I never agree with the projected total, but I think this is going to be a little bit closer than what it's saying. It's giving Kevin around 12 points of an edge. Both teams have tough matchups, and they also don't have really solid plays, as Tommy's got Sterling Shepard in there. Yeah, he scored a touchdown, but he's not really all that great. Tommy's been rolling with Ricky Seals-Jones as his tight end, although he's not that great of a talent, but he's going against Oakland. So everybody's scoring against Oakland. He could do well. Marlon Mack has a tough matchup against Tennessee. Tennessee's defense is for real. If you didn't see what they did to the Patriots and also what they did to the Cowboys the week before, the Eagles early on this year, the Tennessee Titans defense is for real. But the good thing for Tommy is that he gets Emmanuel Sanders and DeAndre Hopkins back this week. And also with the Cooper Kupp injury, Robert Woods now gets more volume play when it comes to the Rams, especially going against the Chiefs in a game that's going to be a high-scoring match. Spoiler alert, that's going to be in one of the betting locks of the week. I kind of like more so the players that Tommy has other than Kevin, but he does have the better running backs in Fournette going against Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh and Fournette, he usually blows them up. Saquon Barkley going against Tampa, that should be a shootout, so he's going to do well there. Philly, going against Mark Ingram. His X factor is Mike Evans. We've seen Mike Evans go off in some games where he's one of the best wide receivers, and we've also seen some weeks recently where he hasn't done anything at all. If he has a better showing, I think Kevin wins, but I'm going to go with Tommy just because I kind of like just 1 or 2 players more than I like Kevin's side. What do you think?
This is a tough one. I think there's some good matchups on both sides. You highlighted the worst player in the matchup is Ricky Seals-Jones. Not great for Tommy. I like the Barretts in this one. I just think they have enough to get it done. I think Coleman has a nice day against it. Dallas can be a tough run D, but I think they're actually tougher versus the pass. So I think Coleman gets a pretty decent amount of volume here, probably sneaks in the end zone. Ingram against Philly. Philly got absolutely gashed last week against Dallas. So you got to like the spot for Mark Ingram. Evan Ingram could be a spot where he kind of gets it rolling. He came back from the injury quiet game, then he got in the end zone, and he had a bye, and he had an okay game last week. I think it's a good spot for him to get rolling. Barkley as well against Tampa. That's a really good spot. I kind of agree with you. Evans is the swing guy here. If Evans has a Mike Evans first half of the year type of day, I think it's plenty for the Clevelands to get this done. You mentioned for Tommy Woods getting more targets, more involved. I don't know that that's the guy that he is. I don't know that his role changes. I almost think it might hurt him not having Kupp. I'll go Barrett's here by 22.
Okay, so you don't really see this as that close of a matchup. I don't feel confident in me going with Tommy at all. I think out of all my picks that we'll go through, this is probably my least confident one just because of some of the things that you mentioned. But with Robert Woods taking over the slot, with Cooper Kupp there, Cooper Kupp was just the slot guy. Now you can kind of put Robert Woods on the outside. You could put him in the slot. It gives him a little bit more flexibility for him to do well. So that's why I kind of like him going forward. And for the other top matchup, that's going to be Timmy versus Brian. And this is another close one when it comes to projected points, but I don't really see it that way. I got a call from Brian earlier today, and for some reason, he was talking shit to me, even though I buried his team and also ended his season. Not sure why he did that, but I'm just going to go and just say I'm picking Timmy in this matchup and not go into any analysis at all. What do you think?
I will take the other side just because Timmy's coming off a tough week, tough loss. I think this thing gets super interesting if Timmy loses this week, and I'd really like to see it. He'd have pretty much a log jam for the last 3 playoff spots, which could make things pretty juicy for the remaining podcasts, if you will. Brian's team, he's got some guys, between AB 84, Mike Thomas, Kareem Hunt, Howard's kind of coming around. I think there's enough there to make this interesting, and I'll flip the coin and take Wardman.
All right, I lied. I will go into a little detail. When it comes to Brian's side, you're right. He's got a couple players that are on the upswing. Kareem Hunt in his matchup against the Rams, that's a really good matchup. That's going to be a shootout, so he will have an opportunity to score plenty of touchdowns there. Michael Thomas going against the Eagles. I think Michael Thomas is putting together the most efficient receiving season in history. I think he's caught over 90% of the balls thrown his way. He's
Correct.
Straight up balling this year. OJ Howard.
It's absurd what he's doing.
Yeah. OJ Howard, I think that was an outlier of a game this past week against Washington. I think better days are to come. And AB, although it's going against Jacksonville, AB has shown to do well against Jacksonville, not only last year, but in years prior. So I think he's going to have a good game, but I don't like the rest of Brian's players, especially since he's got Jarvis Landry in there, and he's on a bye, so Brian might want to make a move there. The Rams defense going against the Chiefs, not a good matchup there. Godwin could eat into Mike Evans and O.J. Howard's game. I'm not a fan of Lamar Miller, and Calvin Ridley going against Dallas. Dallas has a good defense, although the game is in Atlanta. But Timmy gets Thielen back. I think T.Y. is going to have a better game. Greg Olsen has been doing better as he's gotten healthier this year. When it comes to Derrick Henry, I do think this is going to be a game where he is going to get goal line carries. Don't like Ito Smith, but I think with the 5 guys of Thielen, Kamara, Gordon, Olsen, and Hilton, I think those guys are what's going to put Timmy over the top, especially since they're all in plus matchups. The Limp-Dick matchup of the week is Doug versus Sean, mainly because Sean has half of his team on bye. So he's got James White, he's got the Patriots out of there. So it's the same thing as your Chiefs being out next week. Sean's got his Patriots out this week. Edelman, the defense of the Patriots going to be out.
Brady.
Tom Brady is going to be gone as well, and I don't really see great replacements that he can put in there. I do think Tate's going to have a good game. I think Baldwin's going to have a bounce back game. Jalen Richard is, he catches a good amount of passes, and I think that game's going to be a little bit more competitive, especially going against Arizona. And then Beckham should ball again this week, especially going against Tampa. But I'm burying the lead. You're going to win mainly off of the backs of your Chiefs guys this week. You can really not get a good showing outside of your Chiefs guys, and I think that's still going to put you over the top. Although I do like carry on, especially with what Connor did this past week against Carolina, and I think that's pretty much it on your side. I don't like Boyd going against Baltimore. Don't like Anthony Miller going against Minnesota, although he had a really good game, but that was against Detroit last week. I think it's mainly going to be your Chiefs guys that push you over the top, and that's why I think you're going to win.
Yeah, as long as Beckham and Doug Baldwin don't go for like a combined 70, I should be good here. You mentioned it. The Chiefs should eat this week. I mean, whether they win the game or lose the game, the Vegas total is 63.5. So there should be some points scored, some yards gained. Trying out a new guy in my flex this week, Anthony Miller. I kind of chase these guys in the flex. I follow the guys who have had a good week, and then they constantly disappoint me. But eventually, I maybe will figure that out, and maybe Miller will be that guy. But yeah, I don't think this one's super close. Unfortunately for Shauna, with his core four on bye, it's tough for him.
Yeah, you're definitely taking advantage of those guys on bye. So I think that's all we need to say about that.
Hey, one thing real quick.
Go ahead.
Say what you want about my team, but I'm either in the top matchups or I'm in the limp dick. I'm never in the other matchups, so that's worth something.
I purposely put you in the limp dick matchups just because I want you to be in the limp dick matchups. Not because I think you're going to be in Slaughterfest on your side, just because I strictly want to put you in the limp dick matchups.
I'm happy with it.
All right. So the other matchups this week are me versus Scotty, and then the Beaties versus Nick. I don't think these are going to be. I could have put either one of these matchups in the limp dick matchup of the week, but like I said, I wanted to put you there. And so when it comes to my matchup against Scotty, this could be closer. I don't have. If you look at my matchups, pretty much everyone has some tough matchups. Mixon going against Baltimore, Connor going against Jacksonville. We talked about the Dallas defense, and Julio Jones is going against them. Chris Harris, the cornerback on Denver, going against Keenan Allen. Houston's going against AP this week. I don't know what Dalvin Cook is going to do, especially against the Bears. So I definitely have a lot of questionable matchups on my side. But going back to what you said earlier, if I just get the floor out of my guys, I think that's what's going to put me over the top. Although on Scotty's side, he's got good matchups pretty much on every one of his players. Indy going against Dion Lewis, even Doug Martin going against Arizona. That's a good matchup right there. He does have Randall Cobb in there, and he's not playing. So, I'd be happy if he keeps him in there. Deshaun Jackson going to be in a high scoring game against the Giants, and Sammy Watkins and another guy that's in that Rams matchup. He's got some players, especially with Jared Goff, being in that same KC LA matchup. But again, I just think the floor of my guys will put me over the top in this one. What do you think?
Yeah, this is the easiest one to pick on the board. You've got options kind of across the board at quarterback, at receiver, at flex. This one's not going to be close, unfortunately. As much as I'd like to go against you, I won't. I'll take you, and hopefully this is the week that I'm wrong.
So far, you've been wrong all the other weeks, so I don't like you picking me. I'd rather you pick against me. And then the last matchup is the Beaties versus Nick. This one, another one. Nick doesn't have Chubb in this matchup. I would have loved to see Nick utilize Chubb, this week going against the Beaties. So he's going to be pretty much riding the backs of David Johnson and Zeke this week. But, you know, Peyton Barber could be good. I think Jack Doyle is the tight end to own in Indianapolis. Scantling, he's had up and down, weeks, but it's really the wide receiver position that's killing Nick's team. Unless, like what we said before, unless his running backs go off, he isn't really in most games. He's been close a few times, but not most games. So going over to the Beatties side, they got their hammers in Gurley, McCaffrey, Brandon Cooks. There goes another guy that's in that shootout of the Rams and Chiefs. So just those guys alone, that's what I think puts the Beatties over the top. What do you say?
Agreed. Looking at the Beatties roster, they're solid, and a win this week puts them right back into the mix. But they've got a couple guys in the lineup that would, don't thrill you. In Collins and Funchess, even Cohen is super up and down. Hooper at tight end. I'm not saying I think Nick gets it done, but I think it could be close. If the Beatties happen to stumble across a week where Gurley and McCaffrey don't go completely off, I think they can kind of hover around that 100-point mark, which is kind of that area where you can lose to some of the weaker teams in this league. So I'll take the Beatties, but just looking ahead, I think that they're solid and they've had a lot of good weeks, but I think there's an opportunity there for them to go a little bit quieter with what the running back situation provides.
Yep, I agree with that. I think they do have some holes, but just like what we saw this past week, they can have some holes and then just have some guys blow up and still put up very, very good weeks. So that does it for our matchups. Now moving into our last segment, which is betting locks of the week. So we talked about the Chiefs and Rams ad nauseum so far, and that's going to be one of my betting locks this week. I'm going to take the Chiefs. I think they're getting. Is it still 3.5 that they're getting?
I see it at 3.
Okay, I saw it earlier at 3.5. I love the 3.5, but still love the 3.
Just buy that hook. That's no problem.
Yeah, I still like the 3. It's going to be a high-scoring match, and I would have liked it more so if it was in Azteca Stadium in Mexico.
Your homeland.
Yes. Many, many relatives over there that actually are pissed off, and, they had travel arrangements, not like your regular travel arrangements, like a caravan.
Yeah, they had mules. Yeah, they had, mules that they had.
Mules and caravans of people going over to the game, but
backpacks.
So I
they have their 5-gallon jugs of water filled up.
I like the Chiefs, and then the other one that I have, not as confident in this one, but I like Tennessee getting. I see them getting 2 points going against Indy. Yes, Tennessee's on the. You see 1?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's moving in the direction I don't want it to go. But so far I like Tennessee getting the points, no matter if it's 2 or 1, whatever. I think that they're really rounding into form. Marcus Mariota, now that he can actually feel his fingers and throw a ball, his connection with Corey Davis has been sensational ever since they came back from their bye week. And the defense, as we mentioned earlier, has been one of the better defenses so far this season, kind of going under the radar with those factors, although Andrew Luck is doing really, really well this year, and I still think he's going to have a good game. I just don't think it's going to be a great game, so that's why I like Tennessee getting the points going against Indy. What do you think?
I will agree with one of your picks. I like the Chiefs. The Rams are just kind of inflated the whole year. Granted, they gash people with the run game, and then Goff just slings it in there. But the defense leaves a little bit to be desired outside of the pass rush. Peters is a nice corner, but they've been giving up some production to the run game. I think they can be beat in play action. So I like the Chiefs there. I don't love the Titans just because this line doesn't make a ton of sense. Tennessee's like the hottest team going. Indianapolis has been pretty good themselves, so I don't necessarily know what to do there. I'm not going to disagree with the pick, but I don't love the pick. I'll leave it at that.
Settled. That's fine. That's fair. What do you got for your picks?
All right, there is a fair bit on the board this week that I enjoy quite a bit. I'm also gonna bring into the fold here a new type of lock, a little player prop, which can be available on many sites. Many bookmakers will offer the player props. I will start now. This is going to put a little pressure on you, Jay, because I'm going to give out a Thursday night winner. Actually, I'm going to give out 2 Thursday night winners. So you're going to have to get this out to the people so that they know what to do. Is that okay?
I mean, we'll see about that depending upon the pick. Go ahead.
There. And I like the under tomorrow night. I got Seattle laying 2.5, and I got the total at 48.5. I like Seattle and the under there. This Green Bay team's not very good. Seattle's coming around. They're getting some pieces back on the offensive line, and they've already been running the ball with a vast amount of efficiency. Little tidbit here. Vegas has been getting slaughtered this year on these totals. Like 69% of games. I have no idea what the percentage is, but a lot of games are going over. And I think we're seeing a little bit of an adjustment this week. I think you're going to see a bunch of games go under this week. This, I believe, to be one of them. The short week, less time for the offenses to prepare. Again, these are not too prolific offenses as they've been in years past. So I like Seattle and the under in your Thursday night double them up special, if you will.
Please tell me you didn't parlay that.
I will. That will definitely be parlayed.
Go on.
Next, going down the board, a little 1 o'clock special on Sunday. I'm going to go back to the well here with Detroit. Detroit's catching 4 at home to Carolina. Detroit has been awful. Many people would say that they've even quit on their first-year head coach, Matt Patricia, the beard eater, the mustache eater. This line just doesn't really make a ton of sense to me. About 85% of the public's bets this week are on Carolina, and the line has not budged 1/2 of a point. That's typically a sign that Vegas feels pretty good about Detroit catching these 4 points. So I like Detroit, not from a football perspective. I don't necessarily know why. I guess it's because Carolina's defense is not as good. They got absolutely destroyed last week. They've had a longer week to prepare. This line, again, doesn't make any sense. Give me the Lions plus the 4. The next game I'll go to is your prop bet. Baltimore versus Cincinnati. Baltimore's at home here. Flacco a little dinged up. My prop bet is that Lamar Jackson will run for a touchdown in this game.
You said runs for a touchdown?
He will run for a touchdown in this game. You can probably find that out there at about 2.5, 3 to 1. And I think it's a guarantee. I think there's no way. Flacco seems about 75-25 he doesn't play. Even if he plays, I think they continue to work Jackson in, especially against a Cincinnati team that's not very good on defense. If he plays, he runs. If he runs, he'll get in. Again, Cincinnati's defense is terrible. That's a play I really like this week.
I don't hate the last one. I do think there's a chance that RG3 is going to be the starting quarterback. It doesn't make sense, but whether he's the starter or Flacco's a starter, I don't hate it, especially with the odds.
If RG3 starts at quarterback and they lose the game, Harbaugh gets fired next week.
You might get fired at halftime. You might get fired before the game if they announce him as the starter. So I mean, I wouldn't hate that at all. The lines, I don't like the lines plus 4. I'm probably going to be a part of the public that takes Carolina. I think they just had an outlier of a game against Pittsburgh. Nothing went their way in that game. They do have one of the better teams in the NFL, and the Lions, like what you said earlier, they've given up on their coach, especially after the Golden Tate trade, where they showed the rest of the team, hey, listen, we're playing for next year. So I don't really like that line all too much, although you do bring up some fair points. The Seahawks, don't mind that. I actually like the under more than I like the Seahawks in that matchup, but I can't disagree with those picks. So I think you're going to do well this
I'm
week.
going to give you two more. I won't provide any analysis just so we can get this done. I'll take Dallas catching 3 by the hook, make it 3.5, sleep like a baby, and give me Tampa on the road at the Giants in a pick 'em. Tampa and Dallas, chalk them up there.
Okay, all right. That pretty much wraps it up for us. Is there any last parting words you want to give the people?
Now, Eric Reed, no idea. He's still a douchebag. Go on.
Eric Reed, the worst in the NFL. Yeah, that does it for us. So I'll try and get this out tomorrow so you can lose some money with Doug's pick, and we'll go from there.
Sounds good. Thanks, bud.
Later, guys.